time, they'll give a beep and we close the door. Yeah. They give a beep, or you don't know? Call out the noise.
Okay, so this house affirms that animal testing by the cosmetic industry should be prohibited. When we refer to animal testing, we're specifically just referring to the cosmetics industry. To clarify what we mean, animal testing, as defined by dictionary.com, is the use of non-human animals in research and development projects, especially for purposes of determining the safety of substances such as foods or drugs. Cosmetics, as defined by the Food and Drug Administration, are articles intended to be applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance without affecting the body's structure or function. Prohibited, as defined by Merriam-Webster, is to forbid by authority. The affirmative side affirms the resolution by stating the current system has begun to make progress in fighting animal testing. According to Humane Society International, over 100,000 animals suffer and die from cosmetic testing each year around the world. The Food and Drug Administration does not specifically require the use of animals in testing cosmetics for safety, nor does the Act subject cosmetics to FDA pre-market approval. As of March 2009, nearly 7 years ago, the European Union, consisting of 27 countries, placed a ban on the testing of cosmetic products on animals, and in 2013 banned the sale of cosmetic testing on animals from then on forward. A compiled list by PETA shows that over 100 highly successful cosmetic companies have committed to no animal testing, such as Urban Decay, NYX, ELF, and Too Faced. First, I would like to point out that the benefits of testing on animals do not outweigh the cost. As the affirmative side, the process of animal testing leads to show that there are negative side effects. A fact sheet compiled on cosmetics testing by Humane Society International explains how many cosmetic companies continue to condemn animals to death by testing their products, even though not only hundreds but thousands of already tested and proven safe ingredients exist, making the need for further animal testing non-existent. Evidence presented by the Humane Society revealed exactly what occurs to these animals by stating that at the end of each test, they're killed by decapitation, asphyxiation, neck breaking, and pain relief is not provided to aid, which is not humane at all. According to the FDA, 92% of all drugs that are shown to be safe and effective in animal tests fail in human trials, indicating that there's a discrepancy if the drugs found in cosmetics are really safe or not. By affirming the resolution, cosmetic companies as a solution can just stop animal testing by committing to use only ingredients that have a long history of safe, eliminating the need to test new ingredients that may or may not be safe for humans even after animal testing. Secondly, I would like to point out that many alternative methods currently exist that don't harm animals, but the end results are just as effective. There are information presented from the Humane Society on the cost of animal testing explain how companies choosing to test on animals are deliberately sentencing animals to a life of pain and suffering when there are faster, cheaper, and safer options available. The margin of cost is not small when comparing the price, as the difference between animal testing and alternative in vitro test methods is in most cases thousands of dollars cheaper. For example, to test the phototoxicity level of a product on a rat costs about $11,500. Using in vitro test methods cuts that cost down to $1,500, which is a big margin. Cruelty Free International notes that there are tests available such as cell culture testing, human tissue testing, computer models, and volunteer studies that are all quicker and just as reliable as animal testing that has proven to be safe but without the suffering of animals.
1 minute.
Companies such as L'Oreal, a widely used and known cosmetic company, provided information as to how they have already set itself up to use 3D printers to produce models of human skin to test on in place of animals. To combat this, companies that are insistent on testing new ingredients could use alternatives that have already proven effective to try out these new ingredients. The companies do not have to sacrifice being groundbreaking and inventive to be
30
cruelty-free.
seconds.
With the alternative test methods, they can be both. In conclusion, this House reaffirms that animal testing by the cosmetics industry should be prohibited on the grounds that animal testing is unnecessary and not 100% effective, and alternative test methods exist as in replace the old cruel ways of animal testing.
10 seconds.
Okay. So first, I want to start with a couple of definitions. Similar to the ones that they described, animals, again, we'll be classifying them as living organisms that are not human beings. Testing is going to be for research better mankind. Testing does not classify as cruel or inhumane punishment for the animals. The cosmetic industry, again, will be products to benefit human beings, such as makeup, hygiene care, etc. And so first, what we're here today is to describe that we are here to negate that the House believes that animal testing by the cosmetic industry should be prohibited. The reason why animal testing should not be prohibited, for the reason, the first disadvantage is the fact that without animal testing, biomedical researchers do not have any other alternatives. The fact is, when we're describing animal testing to animals, they are animals. We need to look at ourselves first as people, as human beings who can make life, and we just have to decide it's either going to be them or it's going to be us. According to an article written by Liz Lang titled Top 10 Reasons Why Animal Testing is Necessary, again, reason 8 states that cosmetic manufacturers are advised to test the safety of their products before letting them go on the shelves for human use. Also stating in reason 10, the human body is too complex to perform these studies on humans, and it is even more complex than computer modeling at this point in time. Our second disadvantage is we face when we choose to not test on animals is lack of results in data. Biomedical researchers will sacrifice if they choose to not perform these studies. Animals are essential for animal testing, and due to their short lifespans than humans, it is quicker to find results. And according to the American Association of Laboratory Animal Science Foundation, laboratory animals have organisms and body systems similar to humans and other animals. And because of their short lifespan, research animals allow scientists to study them throughout their entire life cycle.
3 minutes.
Even through several generations within a short period of time. So even though we are aware that there has been other alternatives, testing on human skins is so brand new that the results are not always accurate because everybody is different. And again, the AALAS, the American Association of Laboratory Science, states that the laboratory animals do have the organisms and bodies similar to us. And so it is quicker to generate these results by testing on animals. For these reasons, we strongly believe that animal testing should not be prohibited because, again, it boils down to survival. It's going to be either them or us before we,
2 minutes.
okay, before, it's either them or us, and we just have to choose. Animals are animals at the end of the day. And
2 minutes.
that's it. That's all I got.
Question. No, you have to answer. You just stated that they have, or yet they have body systems that are more similar to ours, so that's why we choose to test on animals. However, as we stated, it's proven that even these tests fail, like they pass in animals, but they fail in humans. So if they're that similar, why aren't they working 100% of the time?
Well, it's again for the reason that everybody's different. You say again that they fail on humans. That is because our cells are different. And when we test on animals, we get our quicker results, and I mean it's quicker to generate because of their short lifespans.
So would you say then if everybody's different, then why are these tests like approved to work for everybody? Everyone's different and it doesn't work anyways.
Well, the reason is I mean I could say it like this. Are you wearing makeup right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. What brand are you wearing?
All cruelty-free.
All
Toothpaste,
cruelty-free?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1
Well,
minute.
I mean I really don't have anything to say about that. But okay.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hi guys, my name is Richie Marino, and I believe that this House reaffirmed that animal testing by the cosmetics industry should be prohibited. Now, our opposition here said that there were no alternative methods. Now, we do have a lot of studies that do show that there are plenty of alternative methods, such as unscheduled DNA synthesis, which is actually a lot cheaper and more effective than testing on animals. For example, the cost of this procedure is $32,000 in animal testing, while the equivalent in vitro alternative test is about $11,000. Now, there is also a rat autotoxicity test that costs about $11,000, and that price drops to about $1,300 when you do it in a vitro test. And also an Eurotraffic assay, which costs about $29,600, while the corresponding in vitro test costs about $7,200. So, in your debate, you said that it's either them or us. And the humans are not alike to animals. Then why are we testing on animals if they're not alike to us? It would make more sense and be more effective when we test on human-like substances, such as 3D printed skin, but there's also a lot of different types of alternatives that are more in tune with humans than actually animal testing. Now, let's see. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you. Here. So, the English philosopher Jeremy Bentham wrote in the 1700s, the question is not, can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer? So, just as you stated that humans are not alike from animals, but they do suffer like us. I'm sure some of y'all have pets. Would you appreciate if your pets were tested on? Because actually, some people have bunnies as pets.
Is your pet a rat?
I actually have a bunny,
Is your
and they do test on bunnies.
A bunny?
3 minutes.
I do have a bunny,
But
actually.
when we're testing on these animals are classifying as rodents, such as mice and rats. And so, and there is some studies tested on dogs, but those tests are to study, or they're not for cosmetic industries. Those tests are to study cardiovascular,
Medical reasons.
exactly.
Exactly.
So not cosmetic industries.
Exactly. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture reported that in 2010, that 97,000 animals suffered from pain during the experiments, and some of these animals were primates, 1,300 primates, 5,900 rabbits, 3,300 guinea pigs, and 48,000 hamsters. So even though some of these animals are not dogs, like you said, and those are that they used in medical reasoning, some of these animals are still being used for cosmetics, such as the hamsters or the rabbits, even in some cases in some primates. Now, it has
2
been
minutes.
affected in the European Union, which is comprised of 28 countries, and also Israel posted a ban in 2007 and 2013 respectively that banned all the testing in that country. India also put a ban in 2013. The Brazilian state of Sao Paulo for introducing cosmetic animal testing ban in January of 2014. And actually New Zealand achieved a national cosmetics animal testing ban in 2015. South Korea actually also announced a 5-year plan to enact a ban on animal testing on cosmetic products, just cosmetic products. So, let's see here. So, I think that's it, all my speech. Any questions?
Yes. A big point that you all had is that you can use cruelty-free cosmetics, but are you aware that more than not that they use outside sources that are still being tested on animals,
1
and that
minute.
is nothing more than just a plot to put, that they're not really testing on animals when they're really doing it in an unsafe manner in other countries?
Actually, in other countries, just as all the countries that I stated, a lot of these tests are banned. There's only a few countries that do require animal testing, and there's a lot of companies. There's actually a list, such as NYX, Urban Decay, Too Faced, and actually just now Paul Mitchell, that actually doesn't do any cosmetic testing. And actually the
30
European
seconds.
Union, their market is worth $72 billion. That was in 2013, so the value only keeps going up, representing 1/3 of the global cosmetic market. And these are all, in the European Union, it's banned to do animal testing. So you can imagine, if they represent 1/3 of the market without animal testing, if we
10
banned it,
seconds.
we would probably do equally as good. Thank you.
switched it right then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the House believes that animal testing should not be banned because the House knows that due to regulations on animals and the animal testing done, that the safety regulations they have are actually not as cruel as they say they are. A lot of the animals have many regulations on them, such as saying how they should have to be safely taken care of. There's actually 4 main regulations, and it is according to the International Animal Care and the Use Committee, this is how the animals are taken care of. It is stated that an ICU is established as each of these justifications is number 1 is a justification for using animals, the number of animals to be used, and a species chosen. So limiting the animals that they can use and the species that they choose. Number 2, the procedure or drugs to be used to eliminate or minimize pain and discomfort, saying that they can only test certain things on these animals. Number 3, a description of the methods and sources used for the research to alternatives to painful procedures. So something they have to have written out, which is everything that they
4
do
minutes.
and all the procedures that they do, so it all has to be documented and made note of. And then number 4 is a description of the research used to ensure the experiment does not do unnecessarily duplicate previous research, saying that what they're testing on cannot be something that they've tested on before or can't be something repetitive, or that it has to be for a reason that they're testing on these animals. Not only does the House believe that there are safe ways to test on animals, but the animals that are actually tested on, they have better results. So we found that the animals that are tested on, a lot of animals can actually have cancer. They can have many diseases that are similar to humans. And by researching on these animals, we found that they can find cures for these things, such as cures to all these different diseases.
However, we are only discussing the cosmetics industry, so aren't your arguments about drugs and cures for these ailments irrelevant to the
3 minutes.
conversation at hand?
They're not necessarily disease cures, but they are animals that are tested on. So products such as, shampoos, there's lotions and soaps and stuff that can wash animals. Animals can be cleaned. You can have safer ways to do animal health and animal regulations. Even toothpaste and stuff like that can be tested on animals, and that's for animal, safety.
Right, but you were talking about cancer and all these cures.
Absolutely, and these problems are in animals. So these animals have these problems. By testing on them, we're testing different we're going to get different results, and so we're going to see different problems that are in animals and in humans. So we can look at all different types of things by starting cosmetic research, and it opens a big door to maybe to different research. As well as this, the human body is actually we share 98% of our genetics with mice. So by testing on mice, we're actually testing on the closest alternative to a human. All mammals, including humans
2
and
minutes.
our common ancestors, we have organs, a heart, kidney, lungs, and all of our main organs. So by testing on animals, we're being able to test on the closest thing to our own bodies. Not only that, but you guys said that human skin is something that we can test on, and human skin can be generated. However, by testing on a patch of skin, you're only testing on the patch of skin. You can't see the whole body effects of the test that you're doing, such as, does it work well with your heart? Do you get high blood pressure? Do you get diarrhea? Do you get all these side effects? So, and by testing on just the skin, you're not being able to test the whole body system. So there may be other alternatives, however, we haven't been able to find many that seem to be able to test your whole body. And, also, according to, it's according to Listland, it says that it is possible to do basic tests on cell lines, but it does not replicate the complex interconnection processes of a live body and can never predict potential side effects on the different organs within the body, saying that essentially you cannot predict what's going to happen to the body if you're only testing on a patch of skin. Also, the attempts to model a mouse brain, which they actually have tried to do, they tried to replicate a mouse brain. The mouse brain was 10 seconds slower than the real mouse brain. So they've tried to come up with different alternatives to it, however they've been put back in their tests because they haven't found the results that they wanted.
30
So,
seconds.
in conclusion, those are my main points for this, unless the House believes that it should not be banned.
talk about cosmetics. We're not here to talk about shampoos or things like that. We're talking about makeup. With, I'm in this 1 minute. With it, there are many things that can be brought up with them. With cosmetics, it does cause, when you're testing on animals, mice, rats, things like that, and there are personal pets that are tested on, just like dogs and cats. They do skin irritation tests. They shove chemicals down their throats. They rub it against shaved hair. They do inhalation for animals, so that way if they don't react to it, then they won't have nosebleeds or seizures, or sometimes it leads to death. You guys did mention that not all cruelty-free substances are safe. They are actually safe because they can't be used unless they have all safe products. 100% cruelty-free products must be tested in order to make it 100% cruelty-free. You guys also did bring up that not all animals, that all animals are protected underneath the Wellness or the Welfare Act. That's not true. Mice, rats, and birds are not protected under that. So you're saying that animals such as mice, rats can be tested when they aren't tested.
So,
And you also did say like side effects, that they can get like vomiting and diarrhea. That's not true. Side effects that they have are skin irritation. They have nosebleeds. They don't have vomiting and diarrhea unless you're actually ingesting it.
Actually, according to the Animal Welfare Act, that they do cover dogs. You were talking about dogs, how they test on dogs and stuff. According to the Animal Welfare Act, dogs are covered, and they're part of it. So.
That's what I was saying. Like animals, they're still testing on them, but they are covered underneath that. Mice, rats, and birds are not covered underneath that. And so, which brings me back to what what we affirm for testing on animals for cosmetics should be prohibited. At the end of the test, animals are killed, no matter what, even if they make it through or not. They have holes drilled into their head. They have restraint devices on them for hours until they die. They burn their skin off. They break their necks, things like that, and they don't have any pain relief for it. According to the FDA, like my partner did say, that 92% of all drugs are safe in animals, but they're not safe in humans. There have been many trials of human testing that it works on animals, but it doesn't work on humans, no matter what. And that it is true. Like some animals have similar things that humans do, organ-wise, but they're not all the same. So, which brings me back to my point that animals are not the same as humans unless they're actually in a human themselves. I found that 9 out of 10 experimental drugs fail in clinical studies because they predict that they work in humans, but they actually don't. And that's according to the U.S. Food, Drug and Administration. And that's why we believe cosmetic testing should be prohibited. That's it.
I'm sorry?
Are you doing the next one?
Yes.
Switch it around more.
No, I'm gonna do it this time.
Okay.
We're gonna learn this first.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Kayla Spurgeon. I'm gonna be talking why animal testing is a necessity. I think the biggest thing we need to talk about here is the opposing team is making these very bold claims about how mistreated these animals are. And this is not happening happening out of pleasure. It's not happening to torture these animals. It is happening out of an absolute necessity. And like we already stated before, the best way that these scientists are getting results is through treating these animals as well as they can. They don't want to just kill all of these animals because then they're not even getting the results that they're wanting. So I think we need to refrain from making it seem that these are just being tortured completely whenever experiments are being done, but they are not just being treated so inhumanely. But we also need to talk about how there needs to be a ban on animal testing. However, that the amount of research animals is significantly less than the animals that are being consumed. So,
I have a question.
1 moment. So, 26 million are being tested, and that's 95% are rodents, rats, mice, birds, etc. However, the United States eats 9 billion chickens each year. And more than that, they have 340 chickens per each animal that is being researched. So, whenever we want to oppose animal testing, we also have to look at, okay, so do we have restrictions on the animals that we consume and how they're also being treated? Yes.
So you say that it's a necessity for them to test on animals, but if there's like over 30 countries and stuff that have already banned this and have found alternative methods to it, why are some of these methods that you're talking about that they're using not FDA approved?
3 minutes.
That's a really great point, and what I have to say to that is that these companies like Toothpaste and Urban Decay that are saying that they are cruelty-free, we see that contractors, most companies make this claim and get contractors to undertake the test on their behalf and use ingredients that have been shown to be safe through testing on animals in the past. So if they were tested in the past, but they don't test on it anymore, they take that same research, they can use it. So you have to really use the right term of cruelty-free. Is it cruelty-free now, or is it cruelty-free in the past? So I want to get to another point here, and that is that there are mouse traps that are sold in the United States, and there are about 30 million mouse traps sold per year. So why would we not use these animals that people are going out of their way to buying products to kill these animals, to save
2
lives,
minutes.
and not even that, but just to make sure that the safety of the cosmetic industry, because there are very dangerous side effects that can happen, and that is why they need to be tested. Yes.
Okay, so you said that we go out of our way to kill these rats. Now, the anatomic, metabolic, and cellular differences between animals and humans make them for poor models. And as Thomas Herrick, professor of evidence of toxicology at Johns Hopkins University, argues, we're not 70-kilogram rats for humans.
Well, I have research right here that say that 98% are mice are genetically similar to humans. So we can actually learn a lot about testing on mice to see how they are going to react in the same way they would react to a human. It's the only alternative. It's not being done to be cruel to these animals, but the animals are at the bottom of the food chain. 30 million people are buying
1 minute.
mouse traps, so why not use that to further science and to help with our own lives? And also professionals support animal testing. So in 2011, the respected journal Nature conducted a poll of 1,000 scientists in the field of biomedics, and more than 90% felt that it was essential to use animals
90 seconds.
for research testing. So these are professionals that are in the industry that are saying this is a necessity. 90%. It's not even a 50-50, 60-40. 90% are saying that these alternatives are not good enough, or else they would be doing the alternatives, because they are not wanting to torture these animals. The scientists are wanting to have the best outcomes possible. So in their mind, they're trying to get the best outcome, not to torture these animals. Thank you.
Time.
industry should be prohibited. There are many ethical issues involved and the costs far outweigh the benefits. First, I want to mention that 40% of Nobel Peace Prize winners who won for their research said the animals were not vital to their research. So we already know that if these scientists are telling us that they're not vital, then we don't need to be testing on them, especially when alternative tests are being developed every day. There are companies fighting to make these alternatives more widely used, and if they exist, why shouldn't we use them? They're proven to work just as well, even better than animal testing a lot of the time. Also, why do we get to decide that animals are worth less than humans in terms of testing? A lot of animals are not protected under the Animal Welfare Act, and I know that it was mentioned earlier that mice and humans share 98% of their DNA, so if it's so necessary to test on these mice, why are they not protected by the Animal Welfare Act? They should be protected if they're that necessary, and they should be treated humanely. Money is being wasted. We've mentioned earlier that in vitro testing saves hundreds of thousands of dollars if you switch to in vitro testing, it saves you so much more money. So all of this money that's being put into this animal testing doesn't have to be there anymore. It'll make things a lot more cost efficient. And it is possible to ban testing successfully without hurting the cosmetics company economically and without taking away their right to be innovative. So many countries in the European Union and farther east of us have already banned animal testing, and they are proven to be successful. And if you want to test on new ingredients, and you have to test them to make sure that they're safe, then use the new tests that are being proven. Like we mentioned, that L'Oreal is using 3D printed skin. Skin is like the primary thing you're going to be putting these cosmetics on, so if it works on the human skin models, then it should be working on humans. It's already said and done there. You don't need to test on the animals that don't have human skin, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, maybe it causes rashes in somebody else. There are no side effects we need to know besides the surface side effects, because unless you're eating these cosmetics, there's nothing going on inside. You're not going to get diarrhea. We've already mentioned that the tests are cruel. There's inhalation used as one of the tests. Like, do you yourself enjoy inhaling fragrances? Like, why would you subject the animals to inhaling such fragrances?
Are you relating us, like people, to animals, because we're not like animals? And so, in order for us to achieve, the test, the results that we want, that is the only option that we have as of now. Because you either have to use your ethical reasoning to either kill an animal who has no right, has no moral judgment, cannot, and does not have the ability to do what a human does. You would rather risk a human life than an animal life?
We're not
Is that
risking
what you're
human
asking?
lives. We're using cell culture testing. We're using printed human skin, a model of the human skin that is as close as we can
Is
get
that
without
dead
using
skin, or
humans.
is that dead skin, or
No,
is that
it's
live skin?
3D printed human skin.
So
It
it's
works
not
exactly
real
the
skin.
same. It works exactly the same.
But it's not
2
real
minutes.
skin.
It might as well be. You can
But
use
it's
it
not
in
real
transplants.
skin. But it's
Yes.
not real skin. It's not real skin.
You just compared. You just said that animals and humans are not the same. So why are we testing on the animals then?
Because they're
Why
not
are we
humans.
testing on them if they're not the same as
Because
humans?
they're
It
not
doesn't
the
work.
same.
Because they're not humans, and we're speaking as not human beings. They can't do what human beings can do.
They don't
And so
have the
at
same
the end
skin
of the
that we
day-
put the cosmetics
At the end
on.
of the day, they're animals.
They're animals. Animals don't wear makeup. People wear makeup. So why are the tests on animals if we can use them on things that are more relevant to the human body, such as printed human skin, such as cell culture testing, such as human volunteers? Like, we're not forcing people to come in and let's test these cosmetics on an actual human. They're volunteering. They're getting paid for it. They have waivers. They know what they're getting into. It is possible to switch to these tests. Cruelty-free labels on cosmetics are allowed to exist because we had no other options at one point in time. We had to test on animals. Yes, I will give you that.
1
But
minute.
now alternatives do exist, and we should be using them if they are there to be utilized. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. My name is Shalisa. The House concludes that animal testing is vital because there's no adequate testing that can be done to give the results needed that come from animal testing. Also, we actually consume more meat than we test on, so kind of really doesn't add up in the aspect of saving one life and not saving all lives. Although the animals are tested on cosmetically, I don't know. I mean, applying makeup, you accidentally get mascara in your eye, you accidentally swallow a powder.
How would you like it if the powder you swallowed or the mascara that was in your eye affected your vital system? That is a very possible thing, because if you're clumsy like me, you get makeup in your mouth, in your eyes, I don't know. So, and actually the chemistry of the human body actually does react to the makeup you have on your skin. So you can have an allergic reaction. That infects the inside of your body and the body chemistry, as my counterpart was trying to say. And although we have 3D prints of human skin, it actually can't be duplicated because of the way skin reacts and acts whenever you're in various climates, such as weather, winter. You can't see if the makeup's going to be good or bad. Whenever the person gets hot, and it affects their body chemistry a different way. So, as we mentioned, that most animals that are treated are rodents and other things, which are going to be killed anyways if found inside of a house. Most people try to kill rats and stuff like that. They're only testing really cosmetics. So, as we found that 90% of researchers feel like cosmetic testing is vital in order to get an accurate reading. And as you said that, would you rather save, like you said, it's good to save money?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys keep saying that it's vital to test on these animals. So if it's vital, why does the FDA not require you to test on animals?
3 minutes.
I don't have anything for that. So, we figured, you guys said, oh, it saves money. Would you rather save money or save a life? Because makeup can give you an allergic reaction, which inherently could kill you. So there's not really, you can't say that makeup doesn't affect your body chemistry, because it absolutely positively does, because people get allergic reactions to different brands all the time. So I'm sure there's different brands you can't use because your skin doesn't like it. And so, any other questions? Anything else?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
For some of these products that you are saying that you can get an allergic reaction to, this can happen with anything, even if it has been tested. So I guess it doesn't matter then if it's been tested or not, if you can still get an allergic reaction to it.
Okay, but if you test on rats first and they get the allergic reaction, you can find the toxicity that is in the makeup and take it out and try it again and keep trying it to decrease the amount of allergic reactions you may get. And so if you're using a 3D skin graft, as you guys mentioned, you won't be able to see any reaction that happens due to the body chemistry. So I would say that to say that it's vital to see how your body is going to react to the makeup.
But you could argue that it doesn't work even if you do test on the animals.
You could argue a lot of things.
Cosmetic companies that do test and people still get allergic reactions to them.
Okay, but you narrow down how many allergic reactions you have by testing. Next
As
question.
you said, would we rather save money or would we rather save a life?
Yes.
If we do artificial vitro testing, we can save money, we can save human lives, and we can save animal lives.
Okay, but
So
as
we're
my
knocking not only 2 birds with one stone,
Yeah.
but 3 birds with one stone.
As my counterparts brought up previously, that the in vitro, whatever you're talking about, it doesn't necessarily work all the time 100%. Nor does animal testing, but animal testing does have a higher success rate than that. So, any more questions?
1 minute.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah, come on.
You just said it. You just said that in vitro testing doesn't work all the time, but neither does animal testing.
Yes, ma'am, but
So
it also
why are
said
we
animal
still
testing
doing
has
it?
a higher success rate than in vitro testing. That's why we're
The
still doing
FDA
it.
said that it doesn't work 90% of the time. It doesn't work. What passes in animals does not pass in humans.
Okay,
They're
but,
two fundamentally different.
well, your skin culture doesn't work all the time either, or the 3D in vitro, whatever, that thing, it doesn't work all the time. And we have evidence to back
30
that up
seconds.
because of the body chemistry and stuff like that. So,
So then they've
Animals-
proven that they don't work. The in vitro testing doesn't work.
good kind of the main point. So, I'm just here giving you guys a lesson.
Alright.
Okay, all right.
Hug it out.
Right. We're finished up.
That being said, you guys have great makeup over there.
Thanks.
All right, just wanted to say thank you guys for debating. It was a pretty good debate. Thanks for all participating, and thank you guys for watching. Thanks.
Good job. Good job.